Storm Team 44 meteorologist Gunnar Consol. He has another look at what could be coming to the tri-state.
And we have confirmation that there is a tornado on the ground. So this is impacting areas just east of Carbondale, Illinois. It's heading towards Marion, Illinois, and Corinth, Illinois. Head to your safe space immediately. We are dealing with this area of rotation. Strong winds, likely around 60, 70, 80 miles per hour outside of that tornado. And then within that tornado, if this is an EF1, an EF2, we're likely going to be seeing winds up to 100, maybe 110 miles per hour.
That snowy road we were just on is Kentucky State Route 261. And if you look at our camera, if we zoom in just a bit, you'll see a car slid off probably just a few minutes before we got there. So that truck driver waiting for a tow, nothing else that can be done right now, but certainly some pretty slick conditions, especially on these rural roads.
I think you can see what the inevitable is these two are going to collide somewhere over Posey County. That's where we can see a lot of instability, maybe some very heavy rains when these storms collide. Towards Henderson and Vanderburgh County, we have this storm cluster, which is the result of what I was talking about earlier. We have a high probability of a high impact event. I'm not really expecting too many outages in the north. That's because you're not expecting that much ice. Ice is really the big culprit for the outages. Ice and snow leading to that double whammy. And if you are in eastern Vanderburgh County, you need to seek shelter immediately. We are dealing with strong storms impacting us right now, right even before daybreak.
These storms are moving with a quick pace. I just wanted to point out the wind speeds. Just looking out towards our west, this is the direction those storms are going to be coming from. And you can see those clouds. They're moving at a pretty brisk pace.
Without anything being confirmed by the National Weather Service, looking at the debris detector and the velocity, we are looking at a pretty telltale sign that there is strong enough rotation that we're dealing with the tornado out through Robinson. Now, yesterday, our confidence was kind of shaky and our impacts weren't that high. But today, the difference is we are tracking more significant weather with a much higher confidence. So you can imagine how slippery it'll be if it's raining liquid rain and then it's also 28 degrees. So that rainwater is going to freeze on contact with roads and surfaces. So we got that warm May-like weather towards the east of this cold front, the Arctic air to the west of that cold front. That's why that battleground where the warm and cold air are going to interact is why we are seeing that 3 out of 5 on the threat index. No one is going to be spared from really zero impacts. There's going to be some impact to everyone here in the tri-state. So if you have any outdoor furniture that you want to secure, now would be the time to do that. Now our tower camera out in Owensboro, I even think you can see some waves capping on the Ohio River. That's how strong the winds are. Could we pull that? That is incredible.
Yeah, look at that.
Let's talk about that real quick. So we're looking at the Ohio River. The winds are so gusty and strong that we are seeing white-capped waves / flood watch in effect because we could see 3 to 4 inches south of the Ohio River, 4 to 5 inches south of Madisonville. Now, while you may think you're in the clear getting the least amount of rain in the north, well, that's where we're seeing the strongest wind potential.
It is painted with mud, but it's relatively still intact. But in the front yard is the house from next door.
And a major winter storm is going to pull down Arctic air with it, and it's going to dislodge some of that polar air that should be over in the North Pole, which is going to lead to wind chills in the -20s and the potential for pipes bursting. But we can expect pea-sized hail with this, wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour as well. No tornado is expected within this.
So the moon does not rotate in a perfect circle like this. If it did, every new moon would be an eclipse somewhere on Earth. But the moon is at an incline, about 5%. So most of the time, every new moon, the moon is either too high above the Earth or too low above the Earth. Now, every few years, everything is in perfect alignment. Today, we have the moon and the Earth and the sun in perfect alignment. Today, the moon is in the ecliptic plane, meaning that we'll see a shadow being casted.
We are likely dealing with wind speeds not even associated with the tornado, up to 70 miles per hour. So we're talking about potential hurricane force winds moving through Warwick County, moving through Turpin Hill, moving through Indiana State Route 61 right now.
We saw some people at the Ford Center clearing the sidewalks but pretty much you're really only going to be able to scrape the sleet off, the freezing rain. It's going to take a while. It won't be till Sunday till we get above that freezing mark.
This pink magenta color showing that we can expect heat index values above 110, maybe even 115. If we could pull our Newberg camera real quick just to show people what we're dealing with, we can see there's some structure out there.
And just looking at the tire tracks, you can see that cars have had trouble going through here.
The preliminary results of that tornado looks to be a high-end EF3, and this is exactly kind of the damage that I've seen using Air 44. There was a home just to my left that crossed the street and landed in the backyard of the home behind me.
Because right now with 5 in a row, it's not enough to just look at individual ones because the whole squall line should now be viewed as a threat.
This house behind me was destroyed back in 2021. And you can't make up this sad of a story. This house was destroyed and then rebuilt, and the owners were literally going to move back into their house this week.
So we're talking about likely confirmed tornado moving over Costco, moving over the Sam's Club area of the Evansville east side.
As we talk a lot about the conditions in Metro Evansville, Metro Owensboro, but the fact of the matter is these rural roads where a lot of the tri-staters live, they are just not in good shape.
The National Weather Service saying the hail is large enough that anyone or any living thing outside will be injured by the hail.
Most trees are still green. This summer's excessive heat and lack of rainfall will likely result in a lot of the trees changing color and dropping their leaves much earlier than normal.
That instability, the wind shear, the lift, it's all going to be in this sweet spot right here. 4 out of 5 on the threat index.
Just a couple days ago, there would have been walls and a roof over me, but now it is exposed to the elements. And there are a lot of neighbors and communities in this neighborhood who are in the same boat.
Now, in terms of those winds, it'll be breezy all day tomorrow, yes, but the strongest of the winds, those windiest conditions are going to be 10 a.m. tomorrow to 8 p.m. tomorrow, so during the daylight hours. That high pressure is expected to slide over towards the eastern half of the United States, giving us the first potential round of 90-degree weather of the summer.
It's a good thing we're catching these things before they enter the tri-state to give you as much of a head lead as possible.
This is a perfect example of what you should prepare for in the morning tomorrow. Even those clear roads, they're going to have hazards on them. You're still going to need to be courteous and cautious of any and all efforts to clean debris,